Turning now to the ongoing labor dispute at Canada Post, and the work stoppage is nearing the 1-month mark. It appears the union and their employer are no closer to a deal. So for more on the story, let's turn to CBC's Sarah Galashan. Sarah, walk us through what we're hearing from both sides.
Yeah, Chris, well, so right now we're day 27 of no postal service across the country, and I feel like at this point in the day, I can say with 100% certainty we are going to hit 28 days because right now there is no sign of things resuming anytime soon. On Sunday, we had Cup W, the union representing 55,000 or more than 55,000 postal workers in the country, put forth a proposal, one that they said they had hoped would bring the two sides closer together because they did lessen their wage demand down from 22% over a 4-year contract to 19% over that contract. But what we heard from management at Canada Post today is that their proposal did not bring any of the sides closer together. Management sticking with their offer of 11.5%. In fact, just in the last couple of hours, there was an interview on Power and Politics with David Cochrane. Canada Post basically, pouring cold water on any idea, any dream that we might see negotiations resume shortly, indicating that they feel they're quite far apart still. But take a listen to what we heard.
We've costed out Cup W's demands, and we're looking at over $700 million in new costs. Yes, they came down on wages a bit, but it's still 9% in the first year. And as you can imagine, wage increases when you have over 55,000 employees add up pretty quick. So that's still not really in the ballpark. So it's hard to get to a point where we could say, yeah, we're close to getting to the table and having a deal knocked out.
Yeah, beyond wages, he also says that there are some significant operational issues, namely weekend service and how do you go about staffing it. He says that is key to management, that be on the table for negotiations, and there seems to be, he feels, unwillingness on the part of the union to enter into that kind of a talk. Canada Post, he says, currently can't compete with important package delivery when it comes to competing with private courier delivery services, and that they need to in order to try and turn things around at Canada Post. And he talked about the kind of losses they have seen over the past 7 years, more than $3 billion in losses. And Chris, for that reason, he says that they simply can't afford what Cup W is asking for.
And Sarah, with no end in sight here, of course, there has been some pressure on the federal government to intervene here. Some people arguing they should not intervene. Walk us through that debate.
Yeah, no, they've been hearing it from on both sides of this argument, and so far, still from the federal government, we are getting no indication that they will be intervening in this particular situation, leaving it instead at this point for the two sides to work out. But what we did hear from the federal labor minister as he was entering question period earlier today is that there is a degree of perhaps being a little bit fed up with the two sides here. The fact that this is now at 27 days, the fact that there seems to be no end clearly in sight, or at least no movement toward that goal. Take a listen to how he put it.
Canadians are fed up with this dispute. They do not believe that the parties have taken these negotiations seriously. I hear that from small business owners, from rural and remote communities, indeed, Indigenous stakeholders. So it's time for these parties to reflect the great responsibility that they have, get on with these negotiations, get a deal, and return the Postal Service to Canadians.
And to the idea that Canadians are fed up, we also had a statement today from Alberta's Jobs and Economy Minister, who talked about in that statement the kind of feedback that he's been receiving from small businesses and charities in that province, the kind of losses that they are seeing as a result of this dispute dragging on for as long as it is during this very important time, the Christmas season. And in that statement, he cited the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses for their estimation that small and medium businesses across the country have at this point suffered losses somewhere around $2 billion, given so many of them rely on Canada Post, particularly at this time, in order to make those sales happen. And those sales can be crucial to their survival. As for the Postal Service, when it might resume, again, no end in sight to this, but even when it does resume, Chris, what we understand about this is that there's been a massive backlog of packages and mail at this point, and it's going to take weeks to clear that backlog in addition to trying to get things moving again.
It certainly will. All right, Sarah Galashan for us in Vancouver. Thank you, Sarah.
You got it.